I'm here today because I'm gonna talk about a difficult topic. For sure, everybody that has been learning a language has these episodes that you said something like a blunder that you shouldn't have said. Let's be honest, everybody makes mistakes, not even talking about your mother tongue, because when I'm speaking Spanish, I'm always making mistakes. Sometimes you can be this kind of person that tries not to make mistakes, but even if you're extremely careful, you're gonna end up saying something inappropriate. But let's be honest, it's the funniest thing to be a foreigner. Cute, everybody laughs with you. The funniest thing is getting yourself a foreigner and say, please talk. For example, if you're an English speaker and a Spanish person tells you to say this, they will be cracking up because it sounds like a word in Spanish. But the truth is, the sooner you get used to make mistakes, the better, because there are no ways. If you want to learn a language, you have to make those mistakes and then you have to correct those mistakes. So it's very positive that they appear, but as I said, some mistakes are quite embarrassing. For example, the first one, it was when I arrived here in Poland. It was, I think, the first week or the second week. I was very lucky because I had these friends that they are still my friends, by the way. It's very curious because as soon as you get here, you have a family that has already adopted you and is inviting you over to the village to try delicious food and things like that. Maybe when a foreigner comes to Poland, maybe you have been already assigned a family and a village. They have the list of all the foreigners and the list of all the villages and families, and they match each other. I arrived and I already had friends because Polish people are so welcoming. They invite you over and they give you food. And without you knowing it, you become a słoik. It's a word that means that you have a Tupperware that you take to the village and they fill it with food, and then you come back to Warsaw and you have all this food in your fridge. And a golden rule in this country is, if they offer you food, you cannot refuse it. So my assigned family came to the building, which was a dorm, and my friends were living in this dorm. Well, this assigned family, actually, they were the parents of my friend Kuba. So they brought out the food, the soup, sausage, and schabowe, and so much food. And then they took the sernik, which is an amazing cake made out of cheese. I think it was the first time I tried sernik. And a Polish family, if they bring food, they are not gonna bring a small amount. They're gonna bring tons of it so that they can be sure that there is enough food for everyone. And after a few hours, they decided to go back home. So I wanted to say something in Polish in order to thank them their amazing food that they brought. And you know what I said? I opened my big mouth and I said, mało mi bardzo, which is not that. Mało mi bardzo means in Polish, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough food for me. And what happened? The mom started crying, she grabbed a knife and she started following me around the room. And his dad grabbed his chest and started, he was having a heart attack. No. They just cracked up, they laughed like hell. Of course, what I wanted to say, it wasn't mało mi bardzo, but miło mi bardzo, which means it was such a pleasure. But you know, when you're starting to speak a different language, you say these kind of things, yeah? But it's fine, because you look like very cute, and they give you more food and vodka. But sometimes the situation is not as nice. It could be very horrifying. I have to admit that the most embarrassing situation that I lived here, it was when I went to the doctor. And it was such an embarrassing moment. And that was a year ago. Don't think that, it was when he couldn't speak Polish. No, I could. So sometimes you have a brain fart and you say something you shouldn't say. And it was with a word that I use every day. I must have been very absent-minded that day. And if there is something you should know about Poland, is that if you go to the hospital, you will have to wait for long until the doctor sees you. But really, for long, for hours. And I actually know that Polish people prefer to go to jail rather than going to a hospital. Never mind, that day I waited for long and many patients. But it's a normal thing that you go to the clinic and the first thing you do is, who's last? Who's the last one? Who's waiting? And they tell you, and some people, prefer to go for a walk because waiting for hours, they go for a walk to avoid seeing their life withering away in that clinic. It's like time goes backwards. So after some hours, it seemed that it was my turn, but a girl came and sat next to me. And I was so tired of waiting, and I didn't know if this girl was before me or after me. So I asked her, "Czy jest pani dostępna?" And the girl gave me a murderous look. And I thought, okay, what's wrong with this woman? And she said, "Excuse me? Proszę pana?" And I repeated, "Czy jest pani dostępna?" And there was this silence. Nobody spoke. And I was like, what did I say? It's a very simple sentence. Are you next? So the situation was so weird that I wrote a message to a friend of mine. I asked this lady if she's next, and she's not really answering. And he said, "What do you ask?" And I said, "Czy jest pani dostępna?" And he was cracking up because, of course, dostępna is not następna. Następna is next. Dostępna is available. So clearly I was asking this lady if she was available. And after this moment, it was even worse because I was already aware of what I had said. We waited longer and longer, and I was red. And I have two theories. Either this girl was very thrilled because she thought I had asked her out, or maybe she was extremely offended because she thought I was asking for some kind of service. But I'm not just gonna embarrass myself. No. Because everybody gets embarrassed. Everybody makes these mistakes. All of us, I swear, all of us. And the first ones, my students. Of course, when they start speaking Spanish, they make so many mistakes, and such mistakes that are so funny. And I have to warn you about Spanish. If you add one single word, it can change completely what you want to say. Actually, that was what caused one of my students to drop out from university. The second day. The first days, everybody is so innocent. It was one day that I handed out some cards with verbs in Spanish and they had to conjugate them. There was a card with a woman waking up. Ella se despierta. It was a little boy who was eating his breakfast. Él desayuna, things like that. And there was one with a girl who was jogging in the forest. So she was like jogging. It was very similar to this one, okay? So one of the girls, the most innocent one, the one that looked like a nun, she was the unlucky student to have this card in her hand. And she had to say the girl runs in the forest. And she said,
La niña se corre en el bosque.
And I tried with all my might. I swear, I tried not to laugh, but I was holding, but I couldn't help but laughing. I was tittering, and all the students, as usual,
What did she say? What did she say? What did she say?
and I said, no, nothing. She didn't say anything, but it was too late because they started in their phones looking for it, and they were splitting their sides. I couldn't stop this reaction. What can I say? Well, it was the last time I saw this student. She never came back to class. But it wasn't my fault. And then all of us who have corrected exams will know what I'm talking about now. There are plenty of funny moments. So many. We do this in Spain, like a lot. Everybody knows that students, when they gather up, they call teachers names. Well, what you don't know is that teachers, we are very cruel. Teachers, we love criticizing so much our students. When they make mistakes, we laugh so much. We complain so much, and you don't know about that because we have to be very diplomatic.
I'm the teacher.
And we comment every single funny mistake that you make. And the funniest moment of all for me, it was some years ago. It was an exam about the family. You have to know how to say mother and father and brother, sister, but also brother-in-law, sister-in-law, some more difficult vocabulary. And one day I was correcting one of the exams. One of the questions was, my husband is your brother, so you are my... And she wrote this, which means enormous vagina. It's even worse than that, but let's put it politely and nicely and finely, okay? So guys, my conclusion is that everybody makes mistakes. You can be like this girl and drop and stop learning a language just because you're so embarrassed to have said anything stupid. Or you can just laugh at it and take it as a story that you can tell in gatherings with your family. I will never forget how to say "are you next" in Polish. Następna.
Następna.
And you can make a video with anecdotes like I did right now. And if you like this video, please click the like, and you will help me so much. And don't doubt to write in the comments what were the worst mistakes that you made or the things that you found funny. Let me know. Bye. Difficult? It's so difficult to set everything. The microphone, the lights, the camera. That really, recording a video is more difficult than you expect. You can see it, so how can you place a microphone without people seeing it? It's impossible. If you know about this, like, just write something because it's a mystery for me. They say it doesn't have to be visible, but I don't know how to do it because you can see it. It's obvious that I'm wearing a microphone. Can you see anything?